questions coming through on YouTube, but also as well, I have my mobile phone open at the moment because it doesn't actually seem to connect with StreamYard with the questions. So welcome everybody. I see I've got a viewer already, as you were hearing me messing about with what I was saying about where I'm looking at the moment. But what I wanted to introduce, and I'm very excited today, is Fanny Snaith, who is a money coach. And Fanny is a certified money coach. Some people sometimes think, oh, you're a financial advisor, which is something very different to what Fanny does. We've known each other for a while. In fact, the very first time I've known you, Fanny, is at the Isborne, and it was a holistic networking event. And I think you went down as the financial freedom fighter. And I remember you at the time.
At the time.
Yeah, and I remember you were also singing the praises about Jim Rohn, which we might go into later as well. So with that, I'm dead excited to introduce Fanny. We'll give in some hellos there. So hello to Moira.
Hello, Moira.
And are you happy to say your journey into becoming a money coach?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. It's lovely to see you. And thanks, Paul, very much for asking me to do this. My journey into money coaching. Oh, you know, money is one of those things, isn't it? I think we all know that we come into contact with money, especially in our adult lives, 24/7, 365 days a year. We can't avoid it. And I noticed that it was part of my life from a very, very, very young age. I had a bit of a weird childhood, mum getting married and divorced lots of times. I was very lucky to be born into a wealthy family. But after 3 husbands, which mum had before I was 12, we ended up with nothing because the last husband basically was blackmailed, that's the word, and gave all our money away. And I came from a boarding school where I was in a boarding school where I'd learned to be happy, and came out of that very quickly, went to the local comprehensive, which I was very grateful, but it was very different, joined the free school meals queue. And it was there that my anger reached its peak, I suppose. And I decided that I found that the adults around me had been totally irresponsible. I was 10 years old, totally irresponsible, and that I was never going to be beholden to anybody for money ever again, that I was going to become a millionaire. So that was my focus when I was 10 years old. And I just sort of went through that. A bit of a roller coaster of a life. Did manage to reach 7 digits on a piece of paper. And I thought that the whole of my world was going to change. But of course, nothing did. And actually, my husband and I realized that we weren't particularly happy. And I was thinking, that's interesting. All this time I've been having this goal to get to this particular place. And now we've got there, and it's all a bit of a damp squib, really. So at around that time, a little bit later, I came to my midlife crisis. Came to my 50th birthday thinking, what am I doing in life? Was in a job that I didn't really like that much anymore. It didn't serve me anymore, had been brilliant before. And I went to see a career coach because I was thinking, I've been self-employed and worked from home now for 21 years. No, it wasn't that long then. It was about 16 years. What am I going to do? Who's going to employ me? And through talking to Louise Jenner, do you remember Louise Jenner? Did you ever meet her? The dream job coach.
I don't know if I have met you, Louise, and I can't remember. I do apologise now, but I don't remember her actually.
But we came up with being a money coach, and because I loved helping people with money, and I'd help my friends. My friends would always phone me up and go, "Fan, what am I going to do with this?" So I decided that I would share my beautifully designed spreadsheets with the world. And people came to see me, and they were professional people mainly who earned well, spent well, but wanted to make more of their financial lives. And they would look at my spreadsheets, and instead of them going, "Oh my God, this is brilliant," which is what I wanted them to say, they glazed over and either started to cry or just looked out the window. I was like, this is a bit odd. And it was then that I started to realize that money is so much more than numbers, and that we really do need to focus on our mindset and the psychology of money before we even bother dabbling with the numbers, really, because that's how we're going to be led with what our mindset says. So I went off to the Money Coaching Institute in America, and I trained there to become a one-to-one money coach, a couples money coach, and also a certified business archetype coach, which is
I like the
fun as
sound of
well.
that.
And at that time, went through my own journey, I guess, with my relationship with money. It was the first time I'd ever really heard who has a relationship with money, my relationship with money, and realized that all the money that I had saved, invested, collected had all been done through fear. Fear of losing it, fear of being without it. And that's why when we got to the whatever digit it was never going to be enough. Never going to be enough. So I went on a big, long journey with my money mindset, my relationship with money too. And now just help as many people as I can to become friends with their finances and friends with themselves. And that's, I guess, my Facebook group is called Loving Me, Loving My Money. And that to me really says it all. So that's how I came to be where I am.
Fantastic. Jane is here watching, so I want to say hello to Jane, who's watching now at the moment. So I've watched on your website, there's a video, and you're talking about getting people out of their money fog.
Yes.
What kind of are the usual fogs that people put round? They're self-employed, they're self-put fogs, but what sort of fogs do you tend to find people have around money?
Well, I try to describe it by describing Lucy. So Lucy's a mum. She's got 2 kids. She's got a husband. She works, and her husband works very hard as well. And they earn well, but they spend well. And they've got 2 children, and everything's fine. They've got a lease car on the drive, and they've got a reasonable sized mortgage. They know that interest rates are going to go up soon. They wish that they see the credit card bill is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every month, but they're still managing to pay it, and it all sort of looks okay. But they haven't really thought about their future. They haven't really thought about how much the kids are going to cost in the future. The school uniforms are becoming more expensive, and there's more school trips and more things to buy for school. And as they get older, it gets more and more expensive. And they just notice that they're not getting wealthier, and it worries them. And they don't really budget because they don't need to, because they've got sort of enough money coming in. So, but there's also the debt is rising as well. They love to entertain, and they love to ask friends round and share food and all that kind of stuff. And they sort of put on nice dinner parties and have nice wine. But that she really would love to talk to her friends about how things are getting a bit tighter, and maybe they could sort of do a dinner party where they share a plate or something. Her husband's missed a couple of pay grades because of COVID, and actually they sort of remortgaged their property. So everything's getting tight. But she's really busy. She doesn't know where to start. She doesn't exactly know how much money's coming in. She doesn't exactly know how much money's going out. There's no real clear plan of the future, and nobody wants to talk about it. And if a financial advisor was to sit down with her and say, so where would you like to be in 30 years' time, Lucy? Lucy's going to basically spit back at them and say, do you know what? I don't even know where I am tomorrow, let alone in 30 years' time. So when I talk about people being in a financial fog, it's having little or no clarity around the situation that you're in. And the problem with that is that being the human beings that we are, we tend to think sometimes that the situation is worse than it is. So very often when I sit with somebody down and actually get clear on where they are, things aren't half as bad. It's not always the case, but that tends to happen quite a lot. So if you're in a financial fog, which means that if you put your hand on the head on the pillow at night and you're thinking, God, where are we going? I don't really know what's happening. You're in a financial fog. And the first step in this segment of your wheel of life wheel on the finances, I would say, is to get clarity. There's another way to describe it as well, actually. I work with 8 money types. And we have all of these characters within us, every single one of us. And we just have to notice which one is out to play. So there's a brilliant saying by a writer called Ayn Rand. And she said, money is simply a tool. It will take us wherever we wish to go, but it will not replace us as the driver. So I like to describe our financial lives, or encourage people to lead their financial lives, as a financial adventure. So if we're going on any kind of adventure, we need a map, a compass, we need to be fit and motivated, and we need a destination. So let's just say we've got our financial adventure bus, and those 8 characters are all passengers on the bus. And of those 8 types, we've got the innocent, the victim, the warrior, the martyr, the fool, the creator artist, the tyrant, and the magician. And I have a quiz on my website, which anybody can take if they want to, where you tick a number of words when you're thinking about money, and it will give you an indication as to which of the money types are active or inactive at this point in time. And for many, many people who take the quiz, they don't have any active money types. And what that means is that nobody is driving their financial life. So they will be in a fog, because they're just all going la, 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 la. They don't know what's going on, and it's miserable. So there you go. We can talk more about the money types later, but
absolutely, I was going to say that. There's an Anne I just saw popped up watching, although it doesn't actually say on my list here, but I also want to say hello to Samantha and Janet. Hello to all of you watching. So Moira's asked the question here, and we'll get into money types later, and also goal setting around money. But would it be better if we use cash rather than card? What's your answer to that?
All right, so let's go back to the adventure first of all. So if we have a financial adventure, and we go to, first of all, we need a map. That's about doing your budgeting, and I call it creating a money map. So you map out your money, giving every pound a purpose. As far as cash and cards is concerned, if you look at the statistics, people spend more freely on cards than they do with cash. However, that doesn't mean to say that you do. So I think that it really is a personal choice. For me personally, I use my credit card. We have a joint credit card, Neil and I, and we use our credit card for everything. In fact, we say to each other, don't use cash, because if you use cash, it sort of gets lost. So we use our credit card for everything. We have an Amazon credit card, so everything we spend, we get points as well for the dreaded Amazon. We then, both of us, use an app called Money Dashboard, which shows us all the transactions that go through. And I monitor that going through the month to see how we're getting on. And that's sort of the same as me maybe going to an envelope and counting cash. But in answer to your question directly, it really is personal choice. However, if I'm working with somebody who is struggling to keep control of their money and literally just waves the card, I might very well suggest that we try cash as a way of noticing, being conscious and aware of what you're spending, and being able to set really, really clear boundaries with your money pots.
Fantastic, that's really good. Now, you mentioned before you can take a test to find your money type, your 8%, the quiz. Yeah, this is, I really, you can take the quiz. I just wanted to know, when you take this quiz, for other people wanting to know, can you give a mention to your website, and then go into the 8 different money personality types, please?
So my website is quite simple. It's fannysnaith.com. That's me. There's not many of us around. You don't get a name, Snaith, where we get that name from. Huh. The money types. So going back to traditional archetypes, the Jungian archetypes, I believe that Jung said basically, you know, when you have your archetype, that's it. That's sort of like part of your personality. However, at the Money Coaching Institute, we don't say that. So of the 8 money types, it's not telling you who you are. They're telling you where you are. So it's a snapshot, and it can change. They're totally dynamic. So just a quick run through the money types then. The innocent is, don't really want to have to deal with money. I've always been rubbish with money. I cast lots of other people for advice. I never know what to do. I can't make any decisions. Shall I do this? Shall I do that? oh my goodness, I'm just going to put my head in the sand, put on a big smile on my face, and everything will be okay tomorrow. So it's putting on a brave face, but with anxiety inside. A little bit like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, right? So she goes and she starts off on the yellow brick road and she meets her pals, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion, and they all go off to try and find the wizard. And once they get to Oz, the wizard is just a little man behind a curtain. And actually, for her to get her dream of going home, all she really needs to do is tap her heels together and say, there's no place like home. So it's a bit like looking outside for all the answers, all those shiny toys, who can help me next? Whereas really to look within and find the answers within. That's that. The victim, well, they've tried everything and done everything and everything goes wrong, and everything they've, is just every suggestion that you give the victim, they're going to come up with something that's going to say that it's not going to work. Now, when victim comes out to play, which we all have within us, of course, that's not to say that stuff hasn't happened in our life that isn't pretty awful. However, what we need to do is we need to process that pain and let it go and move on. And from my experience, and I work with people, a lot of people who can have an active victim, the real joy of it is that once they find the key to their prison and unlock themselves, they make the best warrior and magicians. So that's good. However, victims can very much feel stuck in their space. So moving on to the warrior, the money type of action, will learn about money, likes to help other people with money, probably follow the markets, will be astute, goal-driven, motivated, loyal. Good one. We like that. So then we got the warrior, then we got the martyr. Well, if I don't do it, who else is going to do it? Quite often the warrior can move into the martyr when they've tried helping each other, helping somebody so much. They can move into the martyr because they sort of like take on too much of the responsibility. We all know this. They look after themselves. They look after everybody else rather than looking after themselves. But with that comes resentment, disappointment, wanting things to be perfect, perfection, and all that kind of stuff. So the martyr's got some lovely qualities like wise, compassionate, etc. But it's got a little bit of a sharp edge to them. That's the martyr. Then we've got the fool. Never heard of due diligence. Always looking for the next great deal. Very likely to have a roller coaster of a life. You've heard the saying, the fool and the money is soon parted, whatever it is. Very true. Lovely people, do anything for anyone, but really just got to take more care and thinks that this is going to be it. It's going to be amazing. What have we got next? Creator artists. Creator artists are conflicted when it comes to money. Lovely, soulful people, got a lovely creative side. Those lovely macrame making, tree hugging yoga teachers. We love them all, absolutely wonderful. But inside, there's often a conflict in the fact that they don't deserve money. They don't think money's important. Money's not important in their lives, and they just have a conflict. Like they don't really know where they fit into the world. They see people with money and they go, oh no, we can't. How could people have that much money when there are people that are starving? But yet they would like to have a little bit more, undercharged quite often, and all that kind of stuff. So that's the creator artist. Again, lovely to have that creative side as a plus. Tyrant. A little bit like me when I was saving my money. So never enough, quite controlling, can get very secretive, really sort of, driven. Doesn't everybody want to be like me? I'm doing so well. But the sad part about the tyrant is that what they really, really want, they can't buy, which is love and friendship and warmth and all that kind of stuff. Donald Trump really is quite a good example of tyrant. And then last but very much not least, we've got the magician, who has really experienced all the other 7 money types before, but is able to embrace the good parts, but dance around all the negative parts. So the magician will say, look, innocent, you need to find your answers from within. He'll say to the victim, look, come on, let's process it and just let's get over it and move on, right? And then for the warrior, they'll be good mates. Yeah, but they'll say, just we'll work together on this and be open to flow. Because the magician is the money type of faith, trust, and balance. Where do you want to be with that, right? And the fool, we love the fool, but the fool's got to find out more information and just make a little bit more certain that they're looking after their money. As far as the martyr is concerned, look after yourself before you look after everybody else. And the creator artist, look, it's really quite obvious that money is important because all these things have to be paid for. And so the magician is the one that we really want to have. So going back to the bus, you've got your bus, you've got your 8 characters. And basically what you want is you want the magician and the warrior at the wheel. You want the creator artist by their side. And as far as the other 5 are concerned, you can get them to go to the back of the bus and take a nap. We don't want those at all. So that's really the work that I do, is I help people to recognize what money types are showing up for them right now and give them all the tools and tips and tricks and methods to recognize which one is driving their bus today and how they can get them out from behind the wheel and put the magician and warrior back there in the driving seat.
Fantastic. And I also want to say hello to Debbie. I just kept that so we say hello to you. What types of people tend to come to you that are needing the coaching and put it in the context of the money personality types? Obviously, you're not going to get magicians and warriors turning up so often, or maybe you do. What tend to you find people are when they come to you and pick up the phone, email you, or contact you in some way for a session?
Yeah. Okay. So money types tend to work in combinations. So it's not just one. So for instance, you might very well have innocent fool goes well together. So somebody comes to me and they go, oh, I'm really, really stressed about my money. I don't really know what to do with it. I get completely overwhelmed with everything. And then what I do is I go out and spend. And then I come back and I look at my credit card statement and I go, oh no, why did I do that? So if you think about, you can have conversations in your head. You can have the innocent sort of saying, okay, well, I really know I've got to sort my money out at some point. I know I've got to I really need to do something. And then the fool pops up and goes, oh, come on, don't worry about it. Let's just go shopping. Come on, let's go shopping and have some fun. Let's go and have a really good time and have some fun. So the innocent then goes out shopping with the fool and it's no good. I just noticed something coming up where Deb's just said, I'm creator artist by what you say. This is so interesting. I worked with somebody who was a creator, who was a really strong creator artist. And actually, when my husband first took the quiz, he was 100% creator artist. So creator artist, this guy who I was working with was actually really wealthy. But one of his things in his money story, which is another thing we have to talk about, in his money story was he went on holiday years ago and went to a very poor part of Africa. And he was really struck. He was probably about 6 when he went, struck by how poor these young people were. And it really hit home with him. And that really sort of planted that seed within him of like, well, how can I have money if somebody else doesn't? And yet he was really led towards figures and accountancy, but really what he wanted to do was be a gardener. It was like, so he's constantly conflicted. And then he goes out on the golf course with some of his rich friends and he really enjoys it. But then there's another part of him that's pulling him back this way. So again, it was like working with him to just try and balance out this conflict, which again is looking at somebody's beliefs, which are just thoughts that we create from our stories, right? We have an experience and from that we interpret it as in a certain way and we create a story from that, which we continue to tell, and that then just forms a belief and we sort of stick with it, really. So it's just working through all those things. So you asked me I get quite a lot of victim, especially recently. I've had a lot of people who are struggling with self-worth, self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence. And as a money coach, one of the first things that I learned from Deborah Price, the CEO, is that 9 times out of 10, when you help people, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's about how we think and how we feel. And
Exactly.
exactly. And if you can get around how you think and how you feel and actually so building up confidence with how yourself is also, you can push that along with a little bit of financial literacy at the same time. So I like to feather it in from both ways, really. But I get a lot of innocent victim. So we can get them out of the driving seat for a start and wake up their warrior and move their magician back to the front of the bus.
Absolutely. I just want to say hello to Andrew, who's joined. Get Johannes Fesler. Johannes, he's an excellent relationship coach. He was actually the first on the Wheel of Life. So thank you so much, Johannes, for joining in. But
it would be lovely to have a chat with Johannes, because I do obviously couples money coaching, which is really interesting piece of work.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me know, Johannes, if you want me to put you two into to contact on Messenger. Moira's asked, can spending money be an addiction?
Can spending money be an addiction? Yes, spending money can be an addiction, but I think, Paul, you'll agree with me. I'm not an addiction specialist. But when I was speaking to a lady today who said, I'm addicted to spending money. And what we found out that it was an addiction to her trying to satisfy her basic needs.
Yeah.
So in fact, I printed one out. I have one of these, which I use every week. And this is the thing for me, the chart that I keep on a daily basis, which are the things that I need to do to bring me to zero, to actually satisfy my needs. And one of the things I find for people who are spenders, drinkers, I think probably those are the two that come to mind first of all, or eaters, is that, they'll go to work, come home from work, go, oh God, I had a really terrible day, really, really awful day, really, really awful day. Out will come the bottle of wine or whatever, or the credit card to spend, or the packet of biscuits. And they will then indulge in those things in order to make themselves feel better.
Exactly.
And if you want to call that an addiction, yes, that could be an addiction. So the first thing I would look at is looking to see, are you satisfying your basic needs? Because I think that when you're addicted to spending, and I'm going to use this word lightly, when you feel that you're spending out of control, or you're spending because you want a buzz and you want a high and you want that, all those juices to flow, it can very often become because you're trying to satisfy a need that's not being met.
Absolutely.
Not always. It's not,
no.
Not always. I mean,
But quite a lot of the times, yes,
sure.
absolutely.
Joe, I've had a couple of people who have had addictions to books, or they just can't feel that they haven't got enough books, or they want more lipsticks. I've got a chap who self-confessed likes to buy enormous amounts of Lego, and I mean really valuable stuff. And I said, is it an addiction? He says, yes, I do. I think it is an addiction. Is it under control? Just about, sort of thing. But it's again, with all of these things, we start putting labels on it. It's just a behavior that we've learned, that we've practiced, that has become a habit, that then becomes difficult to break.
Yes. So I've got here, just going to do a couple more, because if you can say again where to get the content, because Johannes has joined later. I must also say a big hello to Buzz, a good friend of mine. He's been unwell recently, so I hope you're doing well. I hope you got my video message as well, Buzz. So lovely to see you on here, and thank you so much for actually taking the time to type that in, even though you can hardly type at the moment. So sending you lots of healing wishes, Buzz.
Yeah, me too, Buzz. And what a great name.
It is, absolutely. He's a great guy. Really good.
So the money type quiz you can find if you just go to my website, which is fannysnaith.com, And then you'll find something that says take the money type quiz, and you can do it there. And for anybody that takes the quiz, I offer a free 30-minute consultation to talk over your results as well, which I'm more than happy to do.
Brilliant. So Johanna says, can you say one more time the type before the artist, because that sounds like me, the entrepreneur one?
Oh, the fool?
Was it fool?
Was it the full one, Johannes? I don't know. The full. So I always the full I usually describe when I'm doing my silly acty bit. I usually say the full is somebody who's I've heard this great. Honestly, somebody has come to me today with this most amazing business idea. Paul, you want to get in on this because this is the deal of a lifetime. Right? There's this guy in America. He's had his first check after 2 months of doing this stuff. He's had $50,000, right? Want a bit of that? Anyway, I'm going to be going out to Las Vegas. Well, I want to go to Las Vegas, but I haven't actually got the money to go to Las Vegas. So I'm hoping that someone's going to lend me the money to go to Las Vegas so that we can go to the launch. It's going to be such fun. We go to the launch of this thing. All I need is $10,000. I haven't got that either, but I'll think about that later. And then I can buy this product. It's a vitamin tablet and it's amazing. It's about this big. You have to have a plunger to put it down. But honestly, it's going to solve everything in the world. And it's a multi-level multi-level marketing thing. And apparently what you do is you sell it and then you get people to come and work. Paul, you could come and work with me. You could be part of my upline, downline, sideline. Oh, I don't know what it's called, but it really is going to be the most amazing thing. In fact, you could come with me to Las Vegas. How about we go? We're going to have an amazing time. And that's really the full.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Johannes said no. That's
not you, no.
Yeah, no, but I didn't think it was actually.
No,
Johannes. Well, I actually maybe said maybe a little. But,
you know what though? It's nice for us all to have a little bit of fool within us. Because if not, we don't take any adventures. We don't, it's sometimes a little bit of fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. Deb said, I'm a spender, sad to say. And I think so many people would put themselves in that category. So for Buzz, I mean, for Deb's being the spender, what was sort of first, obviously money coaching is always good, but what was the first step that Deb's could take to stop being a spender?
First of all, take the money type quiz and have a half an hour chat with me. No obligation. I mean that, no obligation. But what would you do if you're a spender? First of all, think about I would get yourself a needs creed like this. So think about, what do you need to do in order to make you feel good? So what is it we need what is the hierarchy, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs? We need connection, we need food, we need shelter, you need all those basic things. But also for me, so on mine, I've got, I need to drink 2 liters of water every day. I need to not drink alcohol. We're not friends. And limit my caffeine. I need to get outside every day and I have 30-minute exercise. I need to meditate. I need to turn the screens off an hour before I go to bed. I need to do some stretching every day. And I need to hug someone or tell somebody I love them, or practice Ho'oponopono, which is the Hawaiian forgiveness thing. And I need to be grateful, practice a little bit of gratitude, and I need to laugh. So that's for me. So first of all, recognize your needs. Secondly, try to think about what you're spending your money on. Notice what you tend to spend your money on. Go through your bank statements. If you can, go through your bank statements for the last year and highlight everything that you bought that you didn't need, and just see how much money you would have saved. That can be quite shocking sometimes. Then I would say, try and find your trigger and track it. So what triggers you to spend? What makes you want to spend? So those are the mindset things that I would think of first of all. I mean, there's plenty of other things now, but I could add to that, but it's just so much to say now, it's going to confuse. I would also look at mum and dad and say, were either of those a spender? Because if mum was a really big spender, like mine was, that's what you've been modeled. That's what you've seen. That's what you were shown. So you've got that, but it's about releasing that. On a physical level, so on a practical, looking at the numbers side now, ditch Google Pay, ditch Amazon, ditch all those on the phone where you've automatically got your credit card details in. You want to make it as hard as you can for yourself. Put your credit card, if you use a credit card, somewhere where you really have to go and get it. If you're going to the shops and you know you're a spender, you would be one person that I would recommend try and use cash. And if you really, or if you have to take your card with you, this sounds a little bit loony, right? But if you have to take your card with you, put it in your shoe. Because when you get to the checkout, you've actually got to go through the motions of taking off your shoe to get your credit card. And hopefully that's going to be the pattern interrupt, which will then get you to look at the trolley and go, which of this don't I need now? The next thing I would say, if you're a spender, is find something that you want that you haven't got. Find a goal to go for. Like, let's say you want to save up £500, £100, doesn't matter what it is. And either if you're going to do it in cash, get a pot. And then when you're about to spend some money on something, divert it to the pot. And try and make this pot become more important than what you're spending on. So I was talking to a lady this evening, and she's got Starling bank account, which is one of these challenger bank accounts. And the brilliant thing about Starling is that you can have your current account here, and then around it you have pots. So they call it spaces. So she's booked a holiday next year, and it's £420. And she's telling me, she's going, I just spend all the time. Look at this stuff. Look at this, look at this, and look at this. So we just had a conversation this evening where we've planted the goal of get that £420 paid off as quickly as possible. She also said she's got quite an addictive personality. So I went, okay, focus on this. Look at this one. Don't look that way. Look at this. Look at what you do want, rather than looking at what you don't want to spend your money on. Oh, I don't want to spend my money on that. Buy it. Yeah, because that's what we do. So focus on the pot. And when you haven't bought the DVD that you're never going to watch or whatever on Amazon or eBay, go, nailed it. Get that money and put it in that pot. So switching. Because if you're a spender, and I just said to you, stop spending, that's not going to work, because you're going to feel even more deprived.
Yes.
You must replace it with a goal or something that you can turn your attention towards, which gives you satisfaction.
Exactly. It seems to be Amazon is kind of here. Hello to Jade, but a few people have said Amazon, it is their downfall.
Yeah, I can see.
What I would recommend, and then see if anything else, because you've already said some fantastic suggestions so far. But I would say, instead of having Amazon on your app, because you can have different web browsers, I would say to actually, say you always use Google Chrome, for example, have, say, Firefox as a separate browser on. So if you buy something from Amazon, you only ever go into the Firefox one, and you have to log in with your memorable name and details first. So it's not just like scrolling through, I have that, I have this, I have this. So would you agree with that? And what other things?
That's actually a really good idea, because the other part of it is when you're on Chrome, and we all know how the settings work, you notice when, like, there's something that really, really bugs me, right? So I went on to sportshoes.com to buy a new pair of trainers. And I looked at a few pair of trainers, and I think I put a couple in the shopping basket, but then I went, nah, I'm not going to do that right now. Come out. Then I start going to looked at an article on the Times or a newspaper. Oh my goodness, those are the very shoes that I was looking at on sportshoes.com come up on all these different websites. So if you were to use a different browser, would that work? If you use a different browser for all your shopping and what you look at, then it's not going to come up all on everything else, is it? Is that
No.
right? Or does it come up from your IP address? Don't know. We're going to have to do a test.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think that it would work what we're saying. It would look at sort of things you're interested in, but if you kind of at least have to go through the hassle of typing in your password and remember your password, I think that's going to help.
Absolutely.
So Lorraine is watching. Hello to you. Moira, another question here. Would it help to have a balance wheel for each section of the wheel of life? I would say yes, definitely. You know, for the wheel of life you do, and probably mine as well.
Well, I think there's two things that I wanted. I saw Deb's question, which says, I'm disabled, so Amazon is good for getting things. It is. So if Deb's to help you, if it is a problem for you, which it may not even be a problem for you, I just shouldn't assume that. What I would suggest is set yourself some boundaries, set yourself an Amazon budget, or make sure that everything that you spend there comes out of your budget, comes out of your, as I like to call it, my money map, where you're giving every pound a purpose. But I love this wheel of life idea, Paul. And I was thinking earlier, how can I help people to have a 10 in finance? And do you know what? My overall thought about it is to approach the subject of money with curiosity. You've never been taught about it at school. And if you were, it was probably some kind of negative thing. Had 3 apples, gave 2 apples away. How many have I got left? 1 apple. Where do they go?
I remember being taught that.
Yeah. The messages that you got from your parents are, in general, in my experience, negative. Can you imagine what it would be like if, when we were children, we heard, now, darling, I'm going to introduce you to the world of money. Money is a wonderful, wonderful tool that you can use. It's plentiful. There's so much of it in the world. Money is an energy that just flows like magic around the world. And when you love it and you learn about it and you're in tune with it, it will be ever abundant, and you'll be able to do whatever you want in life and become as successful and as happy as you ever want and fulfilled as ever you wanted to be. Wouldn't that be amazing, right? But what do we get?
Absolutely.
Can't afford it. Money doesn't grow on trees. You got to work really hard for your money. So my thoughts would be, first of all, because I'd like to go back to my adventure again, approach it with curiosity. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? I'm not going to say, when we talk about adventure, by the way, I'm not talking like happy la la land adventure. I'm talking Indiana Jones, right? You are going to have nests of vipers and tunnels with balls of fire going down, etc. But if we approach it with curiosity, with our curiosity caps on, when things go wrong or a little bit off track, rather than allowing victim to come out to play, oh my God, it's all gone wrong, it's awful, I don't know why I bothered, we can go, okay, so that didn't work. What are we going to do now to put ourselves back on track? What can we do to just stand up, dust ourselves down and go, okay, well, what can we learn from that experience and move on? That would be my first thing to get a 10, is your whole approach to it.
Absolutely. And I think that'd be so important, along with building self-esteem, because we've taught so many things in school, but there's not like one to talk about goal setting. That would be another good thing to add in school. Definitely talking about money and finances and saving. Jade says here, my depression makes me spend lots too. You must come across that regularly with your coaching depression and how you can change their thinking about their depression and their money spending.
I mean, again, if somebody is on antidepressants, etc., and they really have clinical depression, I'm not a trained therapist in that. However, the black dog is there and we can accept where we are. But my And I'll be honest, I'm going to be honest with you guys now. So in 2019, in the full flow of menopause, which I thought I got away with, by the way, I had it for about 4 years. And then thinking, this is a breeze and what people are on about, honestly, all this rubbish about the menopause. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my goodness, what's going on? I think I actually thought I was going to go mad. And I found myself in my car, driving along, wanting to put my foot down and drive straight into the back of a lorry, feeling really low, lost all interest in my business, lost interest in myself. I mean, it was awful. I just didn't even know myself. I didn't even want to get out of bed. I went to the doctor and they put me on antidepressants, and it helped for a little bit. But because I think I've done the training that I've done, I knew that what I needed to do is I needed to find the light. And I knew there was some light there. Sorry, sounding a bit religious, but I don't mean that. You know what I mean, right?
Yes,
But
absolutely.
I needed to find something to look at that made me smile. And as the universe would have it, I was looking for a job for my daughter for the Christmas period, etc. And I noticed that Sainsbury's were looking for staff up the road. And I went and worked in Sainsbury's for 3 months. I just dropped everything that I was doing. I dropped my business. I didn't bother with it. Didn't try to fight all the things that I was trying to do. And I went, you know what? I'm just going to go and I'm going to sit in a supermarket and I'm just going to go boop, boop, and meet other people. Now, I know not everybody has the opportunity to do that. I was very lucky to have that opportunity, but I always believe that there's something that you can turn your attention to right now that can just move you up that the emotional guidance scale. Do you use the emotional guidance scale, Paul? Do you know about it?
It's kind of different, not exactly maybe the way you're thinking of it, but you know how you're feeling inside, giving it a number of 10, and where it's making you go is how I deal with it. So it might be completely different emotional guidance that you do. So do you want to say a little bit about your emotional guidance?
I'll be honest with you, I usually have it with me on the screen when I'm doing it, so I can't always remember all the numbers, but it's I'm a big fan of Abraham Hicks.
Yes.
Whether Abraham is real or not, I don't actually care, because I've been to see Esther in real life in Amsterdam, and I thought that it was going to be she couldn't possibly be as eloquent as she is when you listen to her on YouTube, etc. But oh my goodness, she's amazing. So they use this thing called the emotional guidance scale, and joy and happiness and everything is at the top, and hopelessness, depression, fear, all those things are right down the bottom. Those real, like, I can't feel any worse. Why is it that we say, oh my God, I'm feeling so high today, or I'm feeling really low today, right? That's basically the emotion guidance scale. But one of the things that they say on there, which this is what I think is wonderful, because there's nothing worse than when you're feeling low and somebody says to me, I'm feeling really low today. And then somebody says, oh, come on, just dust yourself down and come on, let's go look at you. Look at all these wonderful things that you should be appreciative of. I mean, oh my God, what a load of old tosh. Because that is like they're asking you to stick a happy sticker over an empty fuel tank. And what we need to realize is that if you're feeling really, really low at the bottom of the guidance scale, and you can Google it and you can see it, from depression and powerlessness and hopelessness and all that kind of stuff, a couple of steps up is going to be anger, jealousy, resentment, and some really quite unpleasant emotions. But if I'm working with somebody who's feeling really like bottom, right at the bottom, and then they start to get angry or resentful, I'm actually really pleased, because I know that we're heading up the guidance scale, and right in the middle of that guidance scale is boredom. And then once we get past the guidance scale, we're getting into more positive emotions. But disappointment, resentment, anger, what else have I missing, Paul?
There's some put pride in now. No, I think being proud's a good thing, but I guess it depends how you're feeling. That pride is another one.
You can't just. I don't know if it's the scale from Dr. Hawking, Johannes. I just Googled the emotional guidance scale and it comes up. And I don't know. It would be great if I know that there's one of the books that Esther and Jerry wrote. I think it's Ask and It Is Given, and they go through the 22 levels of the guidance scale, and it's a fantastic book, because I think, isn't the most important thing that wherever you are, talking about Jim Rohn again, right? With
Yes.
bringing in the Jim Rohn and the set of the sail.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, that's where you start from. But the one thing to do is just to start. It's a
I totally agree.
tiny little step.
Exactly.
Tiny little step.
I'm going to say hello to, Damien. I saw Dave pop up earlier, so hello to you, Dave, and Sam, who's also watching. Hello to all of you for watching.
I'm really, thank you for coming to watch. That's really fantastic. That makes me smile.
Excellent. Do you want to mention your website and the different sorts of coaching, because it's not just individuals coaching, and also you've got a group for women as well, so if you can talk about that, so when people go to you, that'd be amazing.
So what do? I have one-to-one coaching, and I like to work with people for 3 months, because you've had a lifetime of crappy beliefs and getting yourself in the poo with money. I can't do it deeply with you overnight, but I can, we can achieve great things in 3 months. So I work with individuals, I work with couples, and again, that's generally a 3-month program. Lovely piece of work. In the couples program, a lot of people think, oh God, no, I can't, because generally when you have a couple, and it'd be interesting to hear Johannes's take on this, is I find with money, you tend to have one partner looking after the money and the other one not. So we can have a really interesting dynamic. We might have a warrior and an innocent. Oh no, my husband does all the money. No, I don't. He does that.
Yeah.
No, I don't have to do anything. And that's all fine. And then what happens is the warrior's doing all the work and the innocent's walking around sort of happy and thinking, oh, it's all done. Probably innocent fool actually together. And then what happens is the warrior starts to get a little bit annoyed and is sort of trying to get them on board and go, oh, actually, I really would like to share this, right? I don't want to do this on my own. And what happens is they tend to shift into martyr. Well, if I don't do it, who else is going to do it? And then the innocent, the fool, shrinks away and goes, oh my God, that's not so much fun anymore. And the innocent's left there. And as the martyr is going, well, I've got to do it all, the victim comes out for the innocent. And so you end up with what in its extreme, a tyrant victim relationship. So we start from innocent warrior and we move to tyrant victim, and it's like, ooh. But we have there's a lovely Rumi quote, which is the one that says, out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that's our mantra around couples coaching. So it's very much about taking two people and taking them both to a lovely, fresh new space. So that's good. So that's that. Then I've got a program that I do just for the ladies, which is a 12-week program called Loving Me, Loving My Money, which is also the name of my Facebook group. And I also then have another online program for both for any gender, anybody, any color, spots, stripes, anything anybody wants to come along with, which is called My Money Makeover, which is a 10-week course, which is like an introduction, a sort of the taster to getting into like thinking, yeah, okay, I really ought to start thinking about my money. And we meet every week on Zoom, and you have videos and all those kind of things to watch. And there's stuff on my website. And I'm going to start to be doing workshops soon about investing for beginners.
Brilliant.
And do all sorts of stuff, really.
Excellent. I know. Hello to Tracy, who's now watching. You had some. Well, you got lots of really cool books, but if you can show some of the books that you've recommended, please.
Right. So first of all, I have to recommend this book, which is called Money Magic, and it's written by Deborah Price, who is the lady who trained me. And it's wonderful. And it tells you all about the money types in there. There's actually a paper money type quiz in there as well. And if you want to, this is basically what I base the core process of my coaching on, not the practical side, but just the mindset side. Brilliant book. For those creator artists out there, this is a lovely book, The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist. And there's amazing stories in there, but this is just well, like the book says, it's the soul of money. So you're not going to find how you work out how your investments are doing and all that kind of stuff. This is all sort of story about how we think. This is thinky feely. For those of you who want to start learning about finance, I have to, even though it breaks my heart a little bit, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which basically gives you the idea where you learn about the 6 most important words in practical finance, which is income, expenses, assets, liabilities, cash, and flow. And if you can understand those 6 words, you got it. You got it. And then for those of you who want to go a little bit deeper and want a little bit more of an academic read, but don't get me wrong, it's still easy. There's this one, How to Own the World by Andrew Craig. And he also has written another book, which I can't remember the name of, which if you're in your sort of late 20s, 30s, mid 30s, is a fantastic book to get you to start investing and actually really get you on the road. So those are those. I was reading something about a single parent here, but I've got my camera in the way. What does it say?
Yes, no, it's all right. I've got it up here. I'm so careful with money, especially being a single parent. I'm very independent and never been in debt.
That's
Which is good.
Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, the thing is about that, which is absolutely brilliant. Will you make sure that what you're doing, you show your children? Get your children, all of you, get your children involved in money as soon as you can. Play shops, get stones to play shops, get them to make even at home, they can get their toys and put them on a table, and then you can just play shops with, buying things and all that kind of stuff. When you take them to the supermarket, get them to choose which can of beans you're going to buy. Get them to look at the prices. Go and get them to try and find a packet of biscuits or something that's under a certain amount of money. Just start getting them involved with things. It's so easy to do as a game. And the other thing I'd like to say to you parents out there, you don't have to know the answers. But what you really must try to do is not avoid the question. So if your child asks you a question, or you feel that you want them to know something, but you don't really know how to describe it or how to talk about it, on my YouTube channel, there is a series of when I'm talking to 2 guys who we talk about how to talk to your children about money. But just don't feel shame or guilty that you don't know what to say. Just feel that it's okay for you to say, do you know what? I really want to tell you something, but I don't know how to tell you something. Should we go and have a look at it on the internet together or something? That's magician. That's warrior.
Absolutely, absolutely. Most definitely, all my boys are so careful also, and they save up and don't spend it on things they don't really need. I don't know if there's anything more you want to add to there, but I've remembered being asked a question beforehand, and I'm aware we're coming, well, we've actually 1 minute to the hour now, so I'm aware of time, but I just wanted to ask, with the COVID and lockdowns, do you find that people were, through boredom, spending more than their means?
I think on the whole, I ran a Loving Me, Loving My Money at that time, and it was right in the middle of lockdown, and everybody was waving their arms around in the air in panic. And from my experience, I had an awful lot of people who paid off an awful lot of debt during lockdown and actually didn't spend and saved money. And the scary part of it was that I was just thinking, oh my goodness, when we go into lockdown, are you just going to go back to the same old habits? But yes, I think there was online buying. As people who are sitting around on furlough, who were being paid, who didn't have anything to do, were bored, they'd be saving on travel and stuff like that, but they'd also be spending on other things. But if we look at how much interest is paid on credit cards and personal loans in this country every day, before lockdown, it was £139 million a day that we spend on personal loan and credit card interest. Post-lockdown, or as of October figures, I believe, it's 123. Gone up from 122, so it could be going north again. So I don't know exactly what the answer is, but what I do know is that it was a fantastic opportunity for people to put things right if they were still getting an income. If.
Yes.
But if
Absolutely.
they weren't, it was very, very different.
I'll ask Deb's question and then just two more from me, and then I'll let you enjoy your evening, Fanny. But Deb says, is the Bitcoin any good to invest in?
So first of all, I invest in Bitcoin. And I think the interesting thing about it is that if you want to invest in cryptocurrency, in any cryptocurrency or any kind of speculative deal, treat it as that. It is speculative. And to all intents and purposes, it is gambling. And you need to be ready to lose that money. So, for instance, if I was going to wake up tomorrow morning and all of a sudden the whole of the blockchain and Bitcoin had gone, I wouldn't be very happy, but it wouldn't affect my life in any way. So I would say the same to you. I think that we are definitely moving towards cryptocurrencies. I don't think that they're going away. I think that there's a lot of people investing in cryptocurrencies who don't have a clue as to what they're doing. So if you are going to do it, you really must learn what you're doing. There are so many schemes out there where it goes, oh, give me your money and I'll trade it for you on Bitcoin. No, that's not warrior and that's not magician. That is fool, giving away your power and your money to somebody else to look after it for you. And you're just going, oh, I'll be okay, finger in the wind. No, stick to warrior and magician and go, what would they do? If you're going to invest in something, whether it be cryptocurrency or a stock or a fund, you want to know really what's going on behind it. Maybe you'd be interested in coming to my investment workshop soon.
Fantastic, excellent plug there.
Yes, it's there, it's here to stay, but just make sure you know what you're doing first of all and do it with money that you can afford to lose.
Totally agree. Two other questions I'm going to, and then I'll let you relax for the rest of the evening. But first question I wanted to ask, if somebody's never really thought about money, never thought about savings before, never really given it a thought, what advice could you give them to actually think, look, it's really good to really start thinking about your money rather than just kind of it comes in, it goes out?
You mean to motivate them to
yeah.
Well, the state pension is a couple of £100 a week, not even that. Depending on what age you are, the state pension may not even be there by the time you reach retirement age. With inflation the way that it is, it's not going to be a very pleasant life living on the state pension. So the earlier you start saving and investing and managing your money to build wealth, the more you're going to have in your later life. And that is going to directly link to the quality of life that you have. So there's your motivation. What do you do first? We build our financial wealth from the bottom up. We like to have a nice solid foundation. So the first thing we do is we work out what our critical expenses are, the money that we absolutely have to have coming in every month so that the lights don't go out, so that we're not naked, and so that we can feed ourselves. That figure is a really good idea to save up and set aside 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. So should you have to stop working or your income should stop now, you are not going to go completely crazy and think, oh my God, what the hell am I going to do? You're going to go, it's okay, I've got X months to live on, which is really calm, really good thing to do. And then if you need to pivot your business or do something, you're going to go into it much more calmly. Once you've got that money set aside, then you can start investing in low cost index funds where leaving your money in over a good length of time, 5 years minimum, should give you, historically will give you between 5, 8, 10% return, sometimes more, sometimes less. It's just starting from the beginning. Going back to that Jim Rohn, who's the famous motivational speaker, if you're in a little boat bobbing around on the ocean, whatever happens, there's going to be all sorts of winds coming. Good winds, bad winds, upside down winds, forwards winds, backward winds, winds of economic change for the good, winds of economic change for the bad. And all of those wins are going to happen the same to every single person in their boat. The thing that's going to set you aside, set you apart from everybody else, is how you hold on to that rudder and set your sail. And if you can set your sail in a way that's going to go with the wind, work that way, then things are going to turn out all right. Which again, who have we got sitting at the rudder? The warrior and the magician.
Amazing. Thank you. Is there anything else, Fanny, you would like to add that I haven't asked you tonight?
I just want to say how grateful I am to everybody for turning up tonight. I'm honestly really grateful. That's so nice. Thank you so much for coming along to listen. I just want you to know that everybody is weird when it comes to money. I don't know one person who isn't. Everybody has worries about, am I doing the right thing or not doing the right thing? And that's okay. Try and have as many conversations with people as you can about money. And why not come and join my Facebook group if you want to. Loving Me, Loving My Money Tribe for men and women. Next week, we're focusing on self-worth and mindset and how to get unstuck for 2022.
Brilliant. Amazing. That's absolutely. Thank you so much for spending this time this evening, Fanny. Hello, right at the end. Alex has been watching. My good friend Alex. Thank you. That was so really. That was really interesting. So thank you. I'll leave it here. You want just to stay on for just 1 or 2 minutes afterwards, and sure. We're having a bit of chat at the beginning. And thank you, everyone, for watching tonight. Take care. Oh, I just want to say before next week, and it'll be Andy Workman who'll be talking about friends and family. Wonderful, wonderful person. So next week it's Andy Workman, and there will be a post put out about that. Thank you, everyone. Brilliant. Bye.
Take care.